I'm giving myself a year. So in June of 2025, I turned 48 years old and I decided to start something that I'm calling Operation Fit AF at 48. So I'm getting Fit AF at the age of 48, and I want to just give you an update on where I am. So a little bit of background here where this came from is that in April of 2024, I had decided that it was time to get back to sort of my old self. And I knew that it was going to take more than just a 6 week challenge or a 12-week challenge or a 90-day or a 75 hard or name your short term thing. I knew it was going to take me longer than that. So I just said to myself, I'm just going to give myself a year. I'm going to just dedicate this next year to consistency, resiliency, getting back up, after what I feel like might be a failure, even though I know in retrospect it probably wasn't a failure. Just coming back to myself time after time after time. So whether, it's not looking at something like, oh, I had a bad meal or I gained half a pound or whatever it might be, it was really just focusing on just getting back to my old self and feeling like me again. That's really what I wanted, was just to feel like me again. I was at a point where I would wake up in the morning and look at myself in the mirror and I'm like, I don't even recognize who this person is. And then I would go out and, go to the gym or go hiking or do certain things that I'm like, I know that I'm capable of more here. So I decided to give myself a year. Well, that worked out really good for me. Ended up losing, I don't know, maybe 30 pounds in that first year, maybe a little bit less, 25 pounds in that first year. I don't remember exactly now. I have to go back and look. But in the last year and a half, so since April of 2024 to now, which is the end of September 2025, I am officially down 45 pounds. Weight loss was never really my goal. Like I said, I just wanted to feel like myself again, but I knew that part of that was feeling comfortable in my body again. And so what I wanted to do is, so I had decided I was going to do a daily TikTok. I was going to make a TikTok every single day while I'm busy. We're all busy. But I found it to be a little bit more cumbersome than I thought it was going to be. I was having a lot of technical issues. I would make a video and it wouldn't save, and I'd have to remake the video. It was taking a lot of time. I just thought I could make a quick 3-minute video or whatever, and it would take me 3 minutes. But that's certainly not the case. Anybody who's a content creator knows that it's certainly not the case. So, and plus, some of the stuff I'm doing is kind of boring, and I kind of was running out of ideas of what to talk about, because what I mean by boring is I'm doing the boring basics. I'm doing the things that we should be doing consistently. And I don't like to use the word should, but it's the things that I know that I should have been doing. Things like, drinking enough water, getting enough sleep, going to bed at the same time every night, limiting alcohol, eating my protein, eating vegetables, managing my stress, all of that kind of stuff. And, at some point I kind of was like, I don't really know what to post about. And because quite honestly, especially on, TikTok, Instagram, those type of things, like the extremes is what gets noticed. So it was kind of like, why am I doing this? Is it helping anybody? I don't really know. I know that some of you have sent me messages that you're enjoying watching my journey, and I certainly appreciate that. I'm so happy to know that me sharing the things that I've been doing, the things that I've been going through, might be inspiring you to make a healthy change in your lifestyle, or maybe realize like it's not too late for you to come back to yourself. I'm 48 years old, and I say this frequently. So if you've heard it before, I'm sorry, but I heard it on the podcast or an audiobook or something where it was a physician, I think, and he had said that, just because you're middle-aged doesn't mean you can't get it back. It might look different than what it did in your 20s or 30s, but doesn't mean you can't get it back. And that really stuck with me. And so here I am. And, I'm kind of in this mindset right now of my life of, I really like to challenge myself. I got a PhD because I wanted to challenge myself. I also wanted to be a college president. But you don't always need a PhD to be a college president, but it was really just more like I wanted to challenge myself mentally from that standpoint. But looking back at it now, I now realize there was zero balance in my life. And so now the phase that I'm in right now is I really want to challenge myself physically, but also being mindful of balance. Okay. So not being like when I was in my PhD program and I had dark circles under my eyes and bags and I was like just existing. I don't want to be that. But I also want to really focus on challenging myself physically because I also know that that challenges myself mentally as well. So I decided in June, when I turned 48 years old, I was going to do another year. So Operation Fit AF was born, and this is where I'm just getting fit AF. I'm just getting as fit as I can. But there's really no like end goal with it. It's just I'm focusing this next year on my fitness, my physical fitness, my mental fitness, all of those things. And it's not just about like how high can I jump, how heavy weights can I lift. It's not always just about that. I'm working on some yoga poses that I used to be able to do that I would like to be able to do again. I'm working on my flexibility. I'm working on my mobility. I'm working on understanding that I am a snacker and I like to graze. And it's really easy to overconsume calories when you are a snacker and you like to graze. It's really easy to do that. So those are the kinds of things I'm focusing on. So what I wanted to do is just like, let's go through an update of all the things that I'm working on. So it's September 2025. Started this in June. I decided to do a natural bodybuilding competition in November 2025. Now, I had decided back in December that I was going to do one in 2025. The original one, the date that I had picked in May, did not work. I had some family obligations on that particular day, so I decided to push it to November, which is fine. It gave me a little bit more time to, just get my head in the right spot, to get my training in the right spot before I started, doing all the things that go into a bodybuilding prep. So I'm doing a natural bodybuilding competition, which means it's drug tested. I will take a urine test and they will test me for certain drugs. And so what I'm doing is I'm doing 3 different divisions. I'm doing bodybuilding. I'm doing something called athletic, which is, if you've seen this in other competitions, it's very similar to something called physique. And then I'm doing like a transformation category. It's an exhibition category. It's not part of the competition itself. And it's really just where we celebrate everybody's transformations, their journeys, the things that they have overcome. And I'm excited to be a part of that. So that is 8 weeks from today. So I've really been slowly, it's called dieting down. I've slowly been dieting down. And the goal is to lose body fats to reveal the muscle that's hidden underneath said body fat. And in doing so, we're doing certain things to help maintain muscle. So as I'm dieting down, I'm losing body fat, trying to not lose muscle with it. When you gain muscle, you gain fat with it. When you lose fat, you lose muscle with it. So the idea here is I'm trying to preserve that muscle as much as possible. I'm doing so by eating very high protein. I am weight training 5 or 6 days a week. Just doing all these things to really help preserve the muscle. The training that I'm doing is very focused on a particular body group, and it's just helping me to maintain some of that muscle. Now I do have a bioelectrical impedance scale. It's one of those scales with the metal sensors on it. You can step on it and it tells you your body composition, water, body fat, skeletal muscle, all that stuff. Those aren't 100% accurate, but if you use the same one over time, you can at least see trends. I have seen over the last year and a half, I have lost some muscle, about 5 pounds. So not too bad. I've been doing a really good job trying to, lose body fat slowly so that I'm not losing muscle with it. I'm 48. We want to keep muscle. We don't want to lose muscle. Okay. So that is one thing that's going on there. I'm, really eating a lot of protein, lifting weights 5 to 6 days a week. And then I'm doing cardio. I'm doing cardio to help burn off some of the body fat as well. And also just to keep my heart and lungs in shape. I finally found some cardio that I actually like doing. Over the years, I've been lifting weights for 32 years. I started lifting weights in 1994 and never really found cardio that I enjoyed doing. I like swimming. But I didn't always live somewhere where I had easy access to a pool. And so, I got into hiking once I moved to Arizona. I was always a hiker. I hiked and stuff. But now that I live in Arizona and have access to mountains, I realized like some of the hiking that I did when I lived in Wisconsin, I used to live in Maryland. It was really more like nature walks. But I have found that hiking is really great cardio for me. So I do have hikes that I do that I consider cardio sessions. And then I do have hikes that I do. It's just me out in nature, enjoying myself, enjoying time with friends. Okay, so I approach it 2 different ways. I also, like I said, I like swimming, And then I do my Peloton. I love my Peloton. I do the bike rides on the Peloton. And then I've actually found that I enjoy the stair climber at the gym. I know most people are like, oh my God, are you kidding me? They're on there for 3 minutes. They're like, get me off this thing right now. But I actually find that I like it. And so what I've found is if I take my Peloton app on my phone and I just turn on a class, I usually will turn on like a rowing class, or like a treadmill class, and I'll just do the class on the treadmill or on the step mill. And I find like that, I don't know, I just like it. I really like it. So that has been huge for me, is finding cardio that I like, that I'll actually do. My problem has always been like, to put me on an elliptical and just tell me to go at it, like, no, absolutely not. So that's what I'm working on there. So 8 weeks out. So now is when, at 16 weeks out and then at 12 weeks out, that's when I really started, dialing in my nutrition, just getting a little bit more, I don't want to say strict with it, but a little less leeway on things. And now that we're 8 weeks out, we just dial it in a little bit more. And what I mean by that is I'm really paying attention to the breakdown of what I'm eating. So I know what I'm eating, but what in that, allotment for the day, how am I breaking that down between protein, carbs, and good fats or healthy fats? So that's where I'm really focused on making sure that I'm getting that. They're called macros or macronutrients, if you're familiar with that term. And we're just breaking that down. And I'm eating the certain amount of protein, certain amount of carbs, certain amount of fats every day. So, and it's really, for me, it's just like, just tell me what to do and I'll go do it. So it's been working for me. The other thing I'm working on is posing. So I've done a couple competitions before. My very first one, I did a bikini competition, and it wasn't for me. Bikini posing is very flirty, it's very fun, and I'm not that. I'm just not. I'm really awkward and goofy. And I get, like, they say that you're supposed to have like a stage, like I always remember, like, Beyonce, it has her stage character that she has in her head is Sasha Fierce, and I just never could really quite get to that. So I switched to figure for the last two competitions that I did. I actually, I have arthritis in my left foot, and I break my bones in my foot very easily because of it. However, at that time, I didn't know. I was breaking my foot all the time, but I didn't know why. And so I was wearing 5-inch clear heels on stage in a figure competition, and I broke my foot on stage. I felt it just give way. My husband said that you couldn't even tell. He couldn't even tell where I broke it, where it was, where I was standing on stage when I broke it. But I distinctly remember that I just felt it just released, and then I felt like I was hobbling off of stage. But he said I did a really good job. So from that, once we figured out what was wrong with my foot, my doctor has advised me that high heels are probably out of the question for me. So I thought, okay, well, I wanted to do this because I really like weightlifting, but I can't wear heels. So I kind of like set this hobby aside. So this was 2017 was the last time I did a competition, and I just kind of set it aside because I was like, well, I don't know what I'm going to do. And then I thought, I watch YouTube videos, I follow other people on social media, and I was like, well, with physique and bodybuilding, they go out on stage barefoot. Like, why can't I do that? But what I do know is that I'm just not somebody, I'm not interested in taking any, enhancement, like PEDs or anything. I'm just not interested in doing it. Nothing against it. It's just not what I want to do. And so, just looking around for natural bodybuilding competitions, and had a couple in mind, but I could just never really quite get my mindset in the right spot. And I'm there. So I'm excited. And we're going to be doing this November 22nd. So switching from figure to bodybuilding and physique. So the posing is different. So I'm working a lot on the posing. I think that, a large part of my fitness wellness routine is practicing yoga. And I think that that's really helped me loosen up my joints and be able to, be a little bit more graceful, but a little bit more like, we're not just going into a pose and then a pose. And it's not really just like strict and rigid. I think it's helped me. I think it's helped me a lot. I think that was something I needed to work on. Is I get out on stage and I'm like, here's my pose. And then here's my pose. like, no, we're gonna make it a little fun to watch. So working on that. The other thing is skin and hair. Working on that. Just getting my skin ready for the competition tan, making sure that my hair looks healthy. Also making sure that my skin on my face is good for the makeup, so everything looks good. So really spending a lot of time, first of all, like exfoliating regularly, doing things like that. Some of these oils and stuff that you can put on your skin, but then also making sure I'm drinking enough water. So getting that hydration in, it really helps my skin. I live in the desert. I live in Arizona. When I go back to Wisconsin to visit my family, my face just like fills right out. And I think I look like 10 years younger just because of the humidity. So that is something else that I'm just paying a little bit more attention to. And so this is part of my Operation Fit AF, is doing this competition. After this competition, so another thing I've been getting into is trail running, which I've been hiking for a very long time. And I did run. I used to do triathlons, but again, I was breaking my foot all the time. Didn't know why I was breaking my foot all the time. Turns out arthritis. So I worked with my doctor to get like right shoes, right inserts, all the stuff. And so I've started running again, but I'm staying off concrete and trying to avoid blacktop as much as possible. I know that blacktop's better than concrete, but I'm trying to avoid blacktop as much as possible. So I'm really focused on running on dirt, on gravel, and started running on some of the hiking trails that I do. So I'm very lucky in that my neighborhood has dirt sidewalks. So that's kind of where I've been starting. And then when I get to the concrete part or the blacktop part, that's just where I walk. So it's been working out really good for me. I'm thinking about, just signing up for some 5Ks. I don't know. We'll see where it goes, but I'm enjoying it so far. So we'll see. I'm very nervous about my foot. So I'm working on that. And and then yoga. I'm still doing yoga. We're making yoga videos. I'm teaching yoga here at a local studio. I've got some online programs on my website at heathermonthly.com. And I'm really going to start focusing my yoga content around those of us who are, a little bit older in life, midlife, 30, 35, 40, 50, beyond. We're still very active people. And, you might be a midlife athlete. Maybe you're a marathoner. Maybe you run 5Ks. Maybe you're a hiker. Maybe you do CrossFit competitions. Or maybe you just do CrossFit. I shouldn't say just do CrossFit, but maybe you do CrossFit, but you don't compete. But you kind of view yourself as you're a midlife person, you're active, but you also want to bring yoga into your fitness and wellness routine. I'm really going to start focusing my yoga content around that. So I hope that you'll find that helpful. If you have things that you want to see, let's do it. Let's get you something, that you need. A lot of the videos of what I make are, I have friends that, I give them some guidance on their trainings for whatever it is that they're working on. And then they'll be like, hey, can you make a video about stretching my hip flexors? So that's kind of where I get some of my ideas. So if you are looking for something, let me know in the comments. I will make it. I have a whole list of ideas, but just let me know in the comments, what kinds of things you're looking for there. So yeah, yoga, I'm certainly fitting in there. I do teach in person, teach online, and then I do my own yoga practice as well. And I used to practice yoga every single day, and that's really gotten cut back as my training has gone up for this bodybuilding competition. I expect once this competition's over, I'll continue lifting weights. I'll continue doing things because I want to keep doing bodybuilding competitions, but I don't need to be as, I don't know what the word is that I'm looking for. I can add in yoga a little bit more after this competition. So I'm practicing personally for myself at least one day a week, and I'm really focusing there on just chilling out my mind, relaxing my body, stretching my joints, strengthening my joints, those kinds of things. So that's where I am with Operation Fit AF. We're 3 months into it for this particular year. Doing the bodybuilding competition in 8 weeks. After that, I do anticipate getting more into some trail running events. And I will continue doing bodybuilding competitions. The bodybuilding is something that you don't continually do year round just because of the diet. You don't want to be in this persistent state of calorie deficit year round. That's not good for you. And so really what it ends up being is that I'll have a season and I'll figure out what that is. I don't know what that is right now. But I'll have a season where it's like I'll do a competition and I might do another competition 2 weeks later or 3 weeks later or whatever it might be. I have to figure that out yet for 2026, but that's what I anticipate. So if you're curious to know a little bit more about my bodybuilding stuff, that's kind of what I'm thinking. This first competition here in November is really just me getting back into the swing of things and first of all, figuring out, I'm doing bodybuilding and I'm doing the physique. Which one do I want to do? Which one do I really want to focus on and become really good at? So this is my goal for this competition is let me figure out which one I like. Which one do I want to like really just hit it hard with? Okay. So that's my plan. I also do know that I enjoy watching other people's journeys and I do like the longer videos. 3-second videos, 30-second videos are fine. But I just love when, I have a couple people that I also follow on YouTube that share their journey. And I like the little bit of the longer videos to kind of, just hear about what they're thinking about the things that they're doing. So if you're still watching this, I'm guessing you're that kind of person too. All right. So make sure you like this video. It really does help my channel. I really appreciate it. Like the video, go to HeatherMonthly.com. Check out my yoga offerings if it's something that you're interested in. I've got a weightlifting program on there as well. And I have a nutrition for strength and longevity program on there too. So not just yoga, we're doing fitness, wellness, all that good stuff that goes into longevity and, just being a freaking badass in middle age. Like that's the goal here. That's what I'm doing. Like I'm going to be a freaking badass. I always say I want to be a 92-year-old baddie someday. All right. So thanks guys. Talk to you soon.